There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
A new vision will govern our land.
Our job is not to divide. Our job is to bring people together.
By the people, for the people, and of the people.
Our youth has power.
Hello everyone, it's Jessica Rodriguez from the TAMIU Political Science Association, and we're back with our Border Talks podcast. For today, we're going to talk about Black History Month, and with me, I have my good friend Gabby. So Gabby, can you introduce yourself for those who don't know you?
Oh, hello. Hello, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Prather. I usually go by Gabbi. And yeah, hello. It's great to be here.
It's awesome to have you. So we're going to start off with some questions. I wanted to ask you, what does Black History Month mean to you?
Black History Month means to me, I believe, it's just a month of education, and along down the lines of a remembrance, in a sense, because I guess it's a month of remembering how many people has done for the month and how they impacted a lot for the community, for the Black community, but also for many others. But I think what's important is like how they got there, what led them to do these important acts and the impacts of these political movements. And it's, even though they were hard and rough parts to come by, they made it through to the end. And I think that sticks with us to this day. It's still relevant. Like, just because these happened before our time, before we were born, I think they're so relevant to this day and age. And I think it's important that for myself and for others, they should be educated on these topics, because I think what's important is that other people may not go through it, but it's important that they should know, because others go through it. So I think it's overall is an important educational purposes.
Definitely. I think what you said is really right about how some people may not go through it, but it's important that, you know, they know this stuff. So going with that, I wanted to ask you also, what are your views on Laredo's diversity?
Laredo's diversity, it's kind of a strange topic, because growing up, I was born and raised here, and I kind of never saw myself as like a Black person. I've honestly, as growing up as a kid, because I actually talked to somebody, I never really saw myself somebody different. I didn't see myself Black. I honestly just saw everybody as equals. Mm. So it was a very interesting topic to see how little diversity is in Laredo, especially where the part I live around. And because honestly, I think I was just the only Black person in my schools all through elementary to high school. And it was just, I didn't take it to heart to know that, like, oh, you're a different race within the campus or in the area. I guess I didn't take it like, oh wow, I'm different. No, I just took it to that I'm like, okay, I'm equal to everybody. Like, it doesn't matter what shade, what shape or color, whatever it is. I just took everybody as equals, and I showed that to everybody that you are equal to me. So I never treated anybody different, and I wanted people to know that I am not different from them. So I think diversity wise, it's honestly a strange topic. A lot of people say that they don't agree with it, like we need to be more diverse, and I agree with that. I totally agree with that, especially coming into TAMU. That's when I saw a lot of diversity, because because TAMIU, they have to emphasize international because that's the part where we are most diverse. And I started seeing a lot of African American people, and it just blew my mind. And there was even one time as a freshman that someone came up to me like, "Oh, are you African American?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." Like, "Oh, do you live here?" And I'm like, "Yes." And like, "Oh my gosh, that's so amazing." And I'm like, just even for somebody so in shock to know that I live here, it was like, it's a good experience and way to connect to somebody. And I really, really like that. But overall, I think we should be more diverse in our community.
I agree. That's very true. What are some hardships that you faced as a young Black woman here in Laredo?
The hardships, honestly, compared to other cities, I think Laredo is very calm. I have never experienced a hate crime. I have never experienced hard racism. Nobody come up to me saying like, go back to your own country, all that um negativity. I have never experienced that, which honestly I'm very grateful. But to know that other people have experienced that, it hurts me because like I have the advantage that nobody has done that, but I
Mm,
feel for them so deeply. But for the hardships, I've always been stereotyped,
mm,
which I think it's a form of racism because they're just assuming that I'm this type of way just because of my race. I've always they always put me in positions of a stereotypical Black person. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, they just assume like back in high school, I think they always think, oh, you like this type of food, like if I liked fried
mhm,
chicken or drink Kool-Aid. And it's like, no, I that's not what I like. I
mm,
that's not who I am. Or that if I can rap to rap music, just because the Black community is predominantly in that category doesn't mean I know how to do that stuff. It doesn't apply to every Black people.
mhm,
Doesn't it's only like, I guess the special ones. Like, it's kind of, it was frustrating at one point
mhm.
that people did that to me, but I made sure that they know that that's not who I am. Like, I was born and raised here. I'm more lenient to my Hispanic side than to my African
Yeah.
American side. So I just let them be aware that like, that's not how it works. We're all different types. There's a lot of people that don't have those stereotypical ways. So yeah, I think mostly those were my hardships, but I don't think anybody would go as hard as to saying stuff to me. If anything, everybody was predominantly nice to me, just always trying not to get on my bad side of anything.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I got a lot of name calls or
Mhm.
anything. Someone called me Queen Latifah once, and I was like, I don't
What?
think that's an insult, my friend.
Oh, because she's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's banking. So if
Yeah, she
so I'm taking it. Like, I'm
that's
taking it to granted for that.
icon. Yeah. Okay, so I remember I had a class with you. I believe it was like class with Professor. Do you remember that lady?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember we were in class one time and I believe we were watching the movie. And I remember this professor made like a remark towards you, and it was almost like a little microaggression. Do you
Yeah.
remember that? Because I was so like a little triggered. So,
Yeah, I actually did mention this again to my mom because I think I mentioned it to another friend about this situation.
mhm,
And honestly, that moment is never gonna leave me because again, like, I don't think any of my teachers, my
mhm,
past teachers from middle school, high school, elementary, even college up until that moment ever questioned that about
yeah,
me. So it really stuck to me. And me being me, I didn't take it as an offense. I don't know. I just wanted her to be aware.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna take anything too offensive too much, like how if she was being aggressive or not.
Mhm.
But I did wanted to put it out there because she made it very publicly in front of the class,
Mhm.
and I didn't. And from looking for all the students, I see that it's predominantly Hispanic, and I was the only one that looked different.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like, oh no, this is not gonna go this way. I have to make her know that I understand Spanish. So like, sure enough, I did tell her like, oh, I understand it. Like, no, I don't speak it, but
Mhm.
I definitely 100% understand Spanish. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was it was very interesting to experience that. I was shocked on my own. I was a little bit triggered too.
Yeah, I still remember that day because, you know, being with a bunch of Hispanic people, well, you know, we don't really see these instances happen, but when they do, you're like, whoa, like that took me to like another place. It didn't feel like it was real almost because I'm like, that's Gabby, like, you know, Gabby, we know Gabby, right? So like, why would she say that? Like, you, well, make an assumption that you don't know Spanish, right? Because at the same time, we have Hispanic people here who also don't even speak Spanish themselves. You know what I mean? So it's not much of a problem, even if you didn't speak Spanish. So yeah, I was just like taken aback a little bit by that. And it's something that I remembered. And I hope that sharing these type of like moments and like stories from people, it can make everyone aware of like these things. It obviously it wasn't like brought from hate. It was just like a little like bit of ignorance, you know, but you know, we need to make people aware, like you said.
Yeah, she was just assuming, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I guess in a way, she didn't know me. She
Mhm.
doesn't know my background. She doesn't know my backstory. So I mean, she had no other way of like to just ask that full on out. But it's compared to other people who have known me for a few years and they just assume those stupid questions to
Yeah.
me, then that's on them. But honestly, like time like those times that I experienced somebody asking me those questions, it just has I have to go back and remind myself like I am Black. Like I've had moments where like people ask me, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like in my head like I'm from here. Why don't you
Yeah.
grasp the thought that I'm from Laredo, Texas?
Yeah.
But it's just that I have to remind myself like I appear as a Black person, and it's maybe other people think like why does she think like that, but it's just like
Mhm.
I've grown up to know myself as a Hispanic person more than a Black person. And I mean, around this time, especially this time for Black History Month, I took a lot of notice, and I think it's important for myself that I appreciate, not that I did not appreciate before about my race or my culture. I wanted to appreciate even more. There's no limit of how much you can appreciate your race, and that's why I dedicated so much, especially with what has happened the past year, that all these movements, and it just I felt like I wasn't connecting to it because I felt like I was by myself and I had no one else to celebrate, so I just didn't do it. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it because this is my heritage. I want my kids in the future to be proud of their race, their skin color, and to be as proud as I am today. Because it's you can't deny it. That's who you are. You can, and I honestly never deny myself of being a proud Black woman. I think that's like a big thing. And like even today I'm like wearing a shirt that says pretty Black and educated. That is I'm so proud to even wear this shirt right now. So
Love it.
yeah, I think it's everybody should be aware of this month, and even down like for the rest of your life, of being Black. And it's also not just being Black, but whatever your race you are, just be proud of who you are, proud of your culture, your heritage, and many more.
Well said. Wow, that was perfect, Gabby. Thank you. Okay, and finally, I want to ask you, what can Laredoans do to be more involved in Black History Month for the years to come, but also throughout the entire year?
I think what Laredo can do is honestly just educate themselves more each time, because again, there's no limit of how much knowledge you can get about uh, a culture, a race, because there's always something new developing.
Mhm.
And for them, I think just learning about for you to just go to Google and just search up the whole Wikipedia, or going some website about Black History Month, or learning about all the heroes that we've known today, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, or just all those people who made it past for our community for what we have today. It's even still today, I'm still learning. I'm still developing all these new concepts that we're learning. Like I even just figured out about Afrofuturism like last semester, and that itself is an amazing journey, and I'm even trying to dive myself into it even more. And I think just appreciate the culture, because there's always something new and something that inspires everybody of how these cultures are represented. And I think that's what we all should learn from, not just from my culture, but just from everybody else's culture, to just be more aware and just appreciate.
Wow, I agree. Thank you so much, Gabby. This was amazing. I think what you said here today will really resonate with Laredoans, and I think we should keep Black History Month going on for the entire year. It's not just February, it's for forever. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here with us today. And yeah, any last thoughts? Any final things you want to say?
Yes, it was really interesting to talk about these topics, because honestly, I talk them to in-close people,
Mhm.
but now that I can just branch out of what I have to say, it's really, really nice. And again, Black history is American history. And just for that to extend and be more aware of our history. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning into our Border Talks podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.